What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about Lonely Planet. This is a new Netflix original, so strap in. We've got a Netflix original film to talk about. It has audio description. It's done by International Digital Center, written by Dakota Green, and narrated by somebody I'm not very familiar with, but I thought her voice was very nice in this film. Audio description gets a win. The win is here, and that has been the case for several films this year where I've been like, films, audio description, great. So, yeah, we'll talk about that. But this film stars Laura Dern and Liam Hemsworth, and it's a romance. It feels cheap. It feels like there was it feels like that there was a script that was passed to Laura Dern that had like $100 bill on it. Could you, what do you think about this? Do you want to do this? You want to do this film? To be fair, Laura Dern doesn't get offered roles like this, so she was probably like, oh God, Netflix wants to do a movie with me. Oh God, it's terrible. But when do I get an opportunity to be the lead anymore? When I'm top billing. Academy Award winner Laura Dern. And that's sort of like the failing of our industry, is that we have a lot of ladies that when they get past a certain age, we just stop giving them things to do. And I don't know why, you know? And what Netflix has picked up on, I guess in their algorithm, is it's showed them that what their audience wants are movies with older women who fall with impossibly younger men. We just had this with Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron earlier this year, and here we're setting up Laura Dern with Liam Hemsworth. And there is a 23-year age gap between these two, which is not. I'm not going to say that this can't be a thing, but it does kind of. I'm wondering, like, is this a Netflix model that we're doing? And so my bargain with Netflix is, listen, if you want to do this, fine. But you need to go find all of these fucking ladies that are older than Laura Dern and keep getting shoved into these shitty 80 for Brady's summer camps. These these crappy book clubs and all that. Go get those women and give them shit to do. I don't care who they're fucking in those movies. Timothée Chalamet, I don't give a shit. Diane Keaton, Timothée Chalamet romantic comedy on Netflix. Their movies are fucking terrible, and I'm tired every time I see four old women in a movie together. I'm just going to assume it's terrible. Like, not a single one of those films has worked. They're all varying levels of mediocre to awful. And I literally think summer camp is why Kathy Bates is quitting acting. I've seen it, and it didn't have audio description, and it's one of the films where if somebody was like, oh, we put audio description on this, did you want to see it? I'd be like, no. Audio description is not going to save that film. It does not matter. Great for access, but I'm not sitting through that film twice. So, so I've got Laura Dern, and she's got Liam Hemsworth, and I'm thinking, okay, so there are a slew of male actors whose careers didn't quite pan out that could easily be put into these roles. Let's go further with this. Let's co-opt this idea, and let's give work to all of these other actresses who are getting really shitty offers. And let Netflix be the home of women above the age of 50 and give them these kind of things to do. I would much rather see that. I would like for them to be written a little bit better than this. This is like really obvious, but I I think Lonely Planet is better than Summer Camp. I think it's better than The Fabulous Four. Um, so I don't think it's a great movie, but I thought Family Affair was fairly decent. So if we can get slightly above average Netflix films out of these, I think it'll be a lot better than sending four old women to do dumb shit in a film that doesn't work. So they're legends. These ladies have Oscars and wins and nominations, and in the final parts of their career, they're going to go off and do like the worst fucking movies ever. In the final parts of their career, Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau were getting like Grumpy Old Men, which was hilarious and worked and got a sequel. So I don't know what's happening with this other stuff. And you could argue Book Club got a sequel too, and it's like, I could argue the Book Club didn't need a sequel. I could argue we didn't need Book Club. So, second best, the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel and Second Best Exotic, those were fine. The rest of them are not. This is Laura Dern playing a writer who goes off to a retreat. We're shown that she's in the middle of a divorce, and her husband has set her up with a realtor while she's in Morocco. So she has to try to find a place to live while she's in Morocco writing her next book. But she's here with all these other like prestigious authors. And hilariously, I was trolling this girl so bad. So the other Liam Hemsworth, the other lead here, so he's the boyfriend. He's not an author, but he has followed, by the way, just boyfriend, not fiance, not husband, boyfriend, who has followed his girlfriend to this invite that she got to this very special retreat where like all-inclusive types thing or whatever, where writers can just come together and talk about, I don't know. They don't really seem to talk about writing. It's basically like just shy of an orgy. And so she's this young writer. I did not recognize the actress. She's done a couple of things, but nothing where I was like, oh yeah, you from that. She was in Space Cadet earlier this year with Emma Roberts, which is like not a movie to be remembered for. She plays like Emily in Paris. So it's funny because she's like, oh, I just kind of wrote my first book. I was like, was it Emily in Paris? I was like, she does not feel like an author at all. It feels like they just picked this girl because she was young, and I don't know. She's so not likable. She doesn't even come across as an author. The funny thing is that they found all of these, because they're pulling people from all over the world, so they found sort of like a great little melting pot of cultured actors to bring in who actually feel like authors. Like, I bought every single one of them. Every time they would talk about something intelligent, I would be like, yeah, this random character actor that is playing this role feels like they actually wrote a book. She does not. She doesn't even feel like she reads books. They picked an actress who feels like she has never read anything above Dr. Seuss in her life. And she supposedly is a best-selling author. And she is obnoxious. She is obnoxious. And she gets worse as the film goes on. Like, I wasn't even like rooting for the two to get together when I was like, okay, so obviously Laura Dern is going to hook up with Liam. But, oh, well, he's here with a girlfriend, so maybe not. Maybe it'll just be a thing where they just kind of hang out together, Although if you read the IMDb thing, it basically says, it comes just shy of saying they're going to fuck. So it's something like a very sensuous relationship or something like that. It's how they describe it. So, yeah, I mean, she does everything dumb, everything wrong. He's like a financier or whatever, so he's always trying to like get cell phone reception in Morocco. so that he can try to close this deal, which doesn't really matter to the plot, but it just kind of like he has to have something else to do that's not her, that's not writing. He has another job. It shows that he has another career, lifestyle. And she makes all these digs at him, but he never makes them at her. Like, he's there to support her. He's being the support. No one else has a partner there, or at least anyone that's introduced on camera. Like, none of the other authors are ever like, oh, this is my wife, or oh, this is my husband. She's the only one that has a +1 of everybody, and she doesn't have like the realization of what that looks like. You know, like, look, no one else has a +1. You have a +1. Why are you treating your +1 like shit? There's a scene where like he like walks away and she gives him shit for it, and she's like, "Ah, I don't know why you don't want to just stay and participate." And it's like, he's not a writer. This is a writer's retreat, you dumb bitch. What the fuck is your problem? Like, it's not even for him. Like, he should be able to do. You're supposed to be like mixing with writers, and she's like, well, why don't you have a conversation? Why don't we go? He is not a writer. You are a writer at a writer's retreat. Who cares what he does? Like, he's in Morocco. Let him go see Morocco. Like, God, I hated her character so much. She's so terrible. They play like a game where it's like charades, and first of all, it's a bit much, because I'm like, dude, you don't know a single author, like, at all. At all. At all. But I don't know, I guess it's his turn, and he's trying to like give out hints and like charades, and he admits it's like music, like it's a band or whatever, and she's like, no, it has to be an author. No, it has to be an author. It has to be an author. No, you're not doing it right. No, it has to be. And I was kind of like, he doesn't know, like, at least Stephen King. I think like the joke there could have been that his author was really basic, you know, or like his references was like Jurassic Park, you know, like Michael Crichton, like that would have been funny. But it was so weird that he just didn't know anything. Like, I was like, J.K. Rowling, like, anything as mainstream as you possibly could have get, and that joke would have worked also. But instead, they went the other way with it, where he pretends to not know what literature is, and just, and then she just berates him for it in front of everybody. And I'm like, she is the worst girlfriend. She is. She gets progressively worse as the film goes on. The funny thing is, she starts off like kind of normal. She also is really passive aggressive. So like, I guess she's a fan of Laura Dern's, like, as an author. And so when she finds out that Liam Hemsworth spent some time with her, because they both went into the city, because Laura Dern really doesn't want to participate in group activities. She just wants to finish the book that she's working on. So she came here to do actually what this retreat is supposedly about, which is writing and finding a place to write, which she doesn't ever seem to be able to do. She ends up going out on an excursion, which Liam Hemsworth, because he is not an author, and there are no other spouses for him to hang out with, he goes into Morocco, and the two of them have conversation. And he mentions it to her the day of, by the way. And she's like, you're just telling me this now? And he's like, yeah, I am. It's like, it just happened today. And telling you about my day. Like, and so later on, she sees Laura Dern. And so she sends him away to go get a drink. And so she goes up and introduces herself. And she's like, oh my God, I love you. And then so like she introduces Owen to her, even though she knows that they've already met. So she goes up and she introduces herself and has this really like inane conversation with Laura Dern, who it seems like she cannot be bothered by this girl. And then Liam Hemsworth comes back over and she's like, oh my God, Owen, I think you two have, this is Owen. I think you two have met, you know, like, and like, what are you doing? What is this character? why have they written you like this? Like, why are you like the worst human being ever? Why can't you just be two people who don't work out? You know, I think this film had a missed opportunity because they have Laura Dern playing a woman who is in the middle of a divorce, right? She's an author. Obviously, she's dedicated to her work. And they could have actually done something with this. You know, they could have actually had her be sort of the shepherd to this relationship where you have an author and a boyfriend who is admitting things like, I don't like to travel. He doesn't, the girlfriend yells at him because she's mad at him because she's like, it bothers me that you don't read fiction. And I'm like, what? This girl's fucking terrible, man. I know I used the term bitch earlier on, and you guys are probably like, well, you come in hot. I'm like, every fucking thing they give this girl to say is like designed to make you want to throw things at her. Like everything she says, and then they cast somebody who feels like she fell out of like Gossip Girl, you know, and is not Gossip Girl, by the way. She's not even the one who's writing like the cute, clever tweets, like the XOXO Gossip Girl. No, she's like somebody who reads Gossip Girl. And then she's like, oh yes, I'm an acclaimed author. Of what? They don't even really talk about her book, by the way. Like, what was it about? What did you write? What did you write about? What did you write about? I want to know what you wrote about. So they could have used this film as a really interesting juxtaposition of one relationship ending while another one is sort of beginning because they're dating. Again, they're not fiancés, they're not married. And like a precautionary tale, and Laura Dern could have used this. They could have toned down her character, the young one, the young girl, toned down her character, made her fucking normal, and then had Laura Dern spend this movie talking to the two about, you know, maybe why her relationship didn't work out, and seeing maybe the parallels in this dynamic between the two of them, and being like, well, you notice no one else here has a significant other, and it's because writers, this is what we are, you know, this is what we do, and having some sort of like self-realization. This script could have been amazing, is what I'm saying. Like, there was so much here they could have done something with, but they didn't do that because they just want to find a way to make you hate Liam Hemsworth's girlfriend in this film so that he can eventually hook Laura Dern. Which does happen, by the way. Spoiler alert. But you can, the thing is that this film is so obvious. It's not like it's pushing you in that direction. That's a problem with her character. Lily, I think is her name. And I'm not throwing shade at the actress. She was just, honestly, she was probably properly cast because they're probably trying to find somebody who didn't feel like an author. But the funny thing is, she's not treated any differently by the rest of the authors. The rest of the authors treat her like she's one of their own, but she doesn't feel like an author at all. She doesn't feel like anybody else there. She's by far the youngest person, and she talks like it too. I mean, she acts like it. She's so out of her element. Everybody else there feels like they were brought there and wrote some profound, somebody won like a Nobel Prize in literature. And like, what did she write? What book did she write to put her at the same retreat? Aren't even that many people there. This isn't like a conference at a major hotel where there are like 1,000 authors. There are really only like 8 authors, and she's one of them. So I hated her character, but I also hated the writing for this. This is Susanna Grant. The last thing she did was like Catch and Release, like as a film, which was also not a great film for Jennifer Garner. So it's somebody who doesn't direct a lot. She does a lot of like writing. She has script credit for Erin Brockovich, which is kind of amazing. When I look at the rest of her work, I'm like, how did you? But she started on like Party of Five, and then worked her way up, and she has some like TV series and stuff. She recently did like Lessons in Chemistry. So, but not a whole lot of film direction stuff. So I could see why she thought this would, and like in the Netflix algorithm, I'm sure there are women out there who are like, oh my God, I wish Liam Hemsworth would be attracted to me. And I'm sure that's why Netflix is making this movie. But it feels kind of simplistic. They just have like a really limited location. They go out and kind of see the sites a little bit, but most of the time they're at this place. And it's all about Laura Dern finding connection with Liam Hemsworth. In order to do that, they have to separate him from his girlfriend. They have to make you want him to leave his girlfriend for Laura Dern. So they have to write his girlfriend in this hyper awful way, so that you hate her by the time Liam decides. So that way he doesn't feel like he's a cheating spouse. It's more like you're just like, thank God. You know? Thank you for... So, I didn't like this movie. I don't like what it says, what it has to do, how it has to get people to where it is. And I think there's a much stronger movie there. Like if I had been in a conversation with Suzanne Grant and we were talking about the film and she was like, well, this is the movie I've got, I'd be like, you almost have a good movie, but you're going about it the wrong way. Instead of, because you're introducing all these things in really interesting juxtapositions of relationships, about one relationship which is sort of new and fresh and they're younger, but you don't want to address the age thing, right? Because you don't want to creep people out that they're that far apart in age. So you're not going to bring up the fact that these two are wildly apart in age. So instead of trying to go with that angle and have Laura Dern impart knowledge upon them, in a way, which by the way, she still could end up with Liam Hemsworth, but in a more meaningful connection way, where she realizes that, like, the mistakes that she made, and Lily could be like less receptive to the idea, and she just doesn't get it. She doesn't see, why am I the only one here with a partner? Like that kind of thing. She could, I don't know, like there are so many other choices that you could make here. I feel like they made the easiest and least interesting, which was introduce the characters, make the girlfriend wildly unlikable, and that way the audience will be fine with whatever Liam Hemsworth does. Because nobody would want to stay with her. Nobody would be like, well, why don't you choose? Just stay with Lily. You're in a committed relationship. Like, no one's thinking that. Nobody could possibly go through the scenes with this girl and be like, I think these two crazy kids are gonna make it. Laura Dern is the homewrecker. No. I mean, she legit gets mad at him for not liking fiction. I'm just like, what? He's here with you, and he doesn't give her shit at all, by the way. Like, he's never like, well, you're an author, and this is... No, I mean, he's being really supportive the whole time. He's there, doing his thing. He's still trying to work from Morocco, like, but not like overly work. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not constantly working 24/7. He just occasionally has a phone call and bad cell phone reception. So, it's such a shitty script. But I still, there's something about the dynamic, and it's much easier to take. And it's not full of dumb jokes, because it's more of a romantic drama instead of a comedy. So I would still rather see the people like Diane Keaton and Kathy Bates and I don't know, Bette Midler and Susan Sarandon and Jane Fonda and people like that being offered these roles instead of those stupid comedies that don't do anything for anybody. I still would much rather have them have at least a shot at maybe something more meaningful in this film. Laura Dern has an opportunity to just sit and be the lead of her own film, and she doesn't need 3 other women of her ilk in order to do it. She just is the lead of the film. This whole film is based on, do you like Laura Dern? And I think that's great. So, even though I strongly dislike Lily as a character, and I strongly dislike how they use Lily as a character and made me think that, you know, she's a bitch, which I don't like to think about women, but the whole movie, I felt like I was designed to hate this character, and it shouldn't feel that way. It's like, what did he see that was special about her? You know, I mean, if I'm supposed to like Liam Hemsworth, then there must have been something that he likes in her that's there, because you just really don't see it. She, immediately when you start peeling back the layers, it's like, it's an apple that looks good, and then as soon as you cut it open, you're like, oh my God, it's rotten. You know, it's deceptive that way when you cut it open. You're like, I don't know. The outside looked fine. Oh my God, on the inside. So, but the audio description, Dakota Green's audio description is fantastic. I love the narrator. I thought she was really great for this. It kind of read like softcore porn. I'm gonna be be honest in some scenes. Especially when it gets a little bit more risque towards the end of the film. I thought Dakota did a good job. I know that she works with Liz at IDC, and Liz has gotten a lot of praise for her work in like Bridgerton for writing scenes, and I thought Dakota Green was punching up. She was like, I got what Liz has got. So there was the use of the word thrusting, which I've mentioned before. I'm like, I've never heard that word used so much until I was blind and it started being put in audio description. So I'm still like opposed to it. I love when, I know it's tough because like, I know you want to use it. And the problem is it's been used to death. Yeah, there are some scripts that only use the word thrusting, like in sex scenes, and they can't find another adjective for the word. So when you consume too much audio description, thrusting becomes this word. It's like the people who are driven insane when they hear the word moist, and they're like, oh God, that's a terrible word. I feel that when I hear thrust. I'm like, ugh. It's not sexy to me at all anymore. It's just like, I've heard it so many times. I'm just like, oh God, they're thrusting again. So she does use it like once, but there's this really great description of Laura Dern, sort of like coitus. And she's, I don't know, she's in this like sheer gown, and she's sort of like staring out a window. And just the way she was described, I thought it was really fucking beautiful. I was just like, damn, this audio description is on point. So Dakota Green's audio description this is one of the best of the year. So I'm going to slide at bonus points, which is rare, but the audio description actually makes me want to recommend the film more than I really want to recommend the film, or more than I actually enjoyed the film, because I thought the audio description was fantastic. So Dakota Green, and I'm sorry, I will learn your name, narrator. There are too many narrators, and I know the ones who have done multiple gigs, and I don't think she has. I don't think I've heard her before. Maybe I have like once or twice, and it hasn't registered enough. It will. Do a series so that I hear your voice every single week. That's what I need. But yeah, I liked it. I like it a lot. So absolutely 2 thumbs up on that. But damn, I don't know about this movie though. So I'm gonna give Lonely Planet a C+. I want to go negative because on the film, but I also really would like to encourage Netflix to do what I'm saying and go get those women. Go find those other women that are not, they're getting really shitty offers anyway. So why can't they have their own movie and then go pair them with Sam Worthington? What the fuck is he doing? Nothing. He was like one of Horizon. You know, Taylor Kitsch. Go find those actors. Put them in this movie. Put them opposite Diane Keaton. Just do it. Write a rom-com. I don't care. I don't think anybody cares. Years ago, Diane Keaton was paired with Keanu Reeves and no one cared. Everybody was like, oh yeah, this is totally believable. Those 2 crazy kids, you know, I hope they get together at the end. So even though obviously she was going to end up with Jack Nicholson, it was like totally believable that she could end up with Keanu Reeves. Like, I don't think anybody was like, nah, this is never going to work. Uh, so a good writer can make it happen. And by the end of the film, you're left with Will Laura Dern and Liam Hemsworth make it. And I'm like, this is a dude who used to date Miley Cyrus. So if you can make me believe at all that these two have a future, then that's where the writing succeeds. So that's it. Yes, this could have been a better movie, but sadly it's not. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.